Alright guys, I recently made a video covering my new loadout, and while I'm making some changes to it already, it gave me inspiration to build you guys a cracking value for money loadout. And you can see here the vibe is going to be. We are going camo vibe, and the recent Burial collection absolutely blessed us on new additions, but for the combo, you're going to be going for Specialist Gloves, Force DD Pack, which in minimal wear are about $265. These have had the rise over the last couple of weeks. Hard to tell if it's part of the market manipulation or not, but I would keep an eye on that price moving forward because all these prices are from the 5th of May and are subject to change. I think on a budget loadout, you should be pairing this with a Paracord Force DD Pack, which is about $130 minimal wear. Now, one thing I need to detail here, and I'll actually showcase, the Force DD Packs, all of them work with the gloves, but some work better because of the brown accents that they have, like the Paracord wrap here. And on Agent, I think going 2 times McCoy for $5.83 is the best play if you want to fully commit to the theme. If you're not wanting to fully commit for the theme, you could spend a little bit more and get Lieutenant Rex Crikey, like I've been running. Now, the thing I want to detail about the Force DD Pack knives are, you can see here a great example on this top row. The Talon knife is cool, so is the Kukri, and so is the Skeleton. But all 3 of those don't get this brown accent color that the likes of the Karambit get. You see it again here. The Paracord gets that, the other 3 knives don't. The Nomad does a little bit in all fairness, but not 100%. The Huntsman knife, the Bowie kind of do. You'd want to avoid Shadow Daggers for it. And Classic knife with the little brown handle bit, you can get away with it. For myself, I've been running the Butterfly with it because it has those accent colors, and overall Specialist plus Butterfly looks super sick. And just for context, with that in mind, this is what a random generated Force DD Pack in field test on the Butterfly would look like. It's about $850, but you can see those brown accents on the side of the hand into the knife actually looks pretty solid. And if you wanted to go all out, you could go for a factory new Karambit. But the one thing to note here is they are float capped at 0.06, so you're pretty much guaranteed to get slightly awkward looking corners across the board. But and this showcases as well that having the brown accents on the knife is like massive for these combos. And on the budget level, I think Paracord's a real winner, and I actually quite like how it looks. Now, I said the Burial collection blessed us, and it did, because we got skins like the Tropical Breeze added in for $6.50 minimal wear, which means we no longer have to use like forest leaves or flashbacks, so you can get a really vibey skin that has gold accents to pair in with those dark golds on the gloves. I do quite like the PD50 Verdigris in Battle Scarred here. About 22 cent you can pick this up. You used to be a little bit overpaid for higher floats, but these days you can kind of pick them up pretty easily. Now, my sleeper pick for the Deagle is actually using the Tilted with this because it has those slightly bronze accents on it, like really small bronze accents, but I think overall that allows it to work in, and it's only 40 cent. And with it only being 40 cent, whether you want a second Deagle to run on the other side, I think going minimal wear Calligraffiti for 16 cent is another good option. So the Deagle options are very budget friendly, which is quite nice, and yes, you will be seeing some parallels to my own loadout that I posted not so long ago. Now, for 2 cent, I think going for the Joe Beretta's Contractor is a bit of a play here. They don't pair perfectly, but for the 2 cent mark, we don't want to overspend in Joe Beretta's. We're on a budget here. We want to force the budget on the key weapon skins, which is again why I go 5.7 Autumn Thicket. It's only 6 cent minimum wear. It has brownish colors, so obviously we've got browns in the gloves, so we can get away with it on a pairing, but we don't want to overspend here. And then as we get to the SMGs, we get some really good value for money picks. You can get the old roots. Now, I've taken the price of a souvenir one, which is about 9 cent, obviously showing it without the stickers on it to showcase the artwork. This looks so nice with the gloves in general, and personally I quite like it having the gold stickers on it because I think it gives it a little pop. Much like the knife situation, when you have a Force DD Pack available, you kind of want to go for it because it is a perfect pairing, and a minimum wear will only cost you 3 cent. And then the UMP Green Swirl, another one from the Burial collection, very nice addition for 5 cent in minimal wear. And one thing to note on this is it is pattern based, and I'm saying this as someone who bought too often myself. So you can see here, this is pattern 304, and there's not much sort of like whitey cream in it at all. It's all very dark greens, whereas this pattern, which is 168, has a lot of this sort of whitey cream color through it, which personally this is my preference overall. But it's always nice when a 5 cent skin can have such variance and you can pick what you prefer. I actually have another new skin for the XM. For the 9 cent price, I really like the Mockingbird here. Now for me, the big thing is it's brown and it's got bits of gold, and these both exist on the gloves, and you get an actually quite nice artwork for the price you're paying here. And not in the recent update, but the previous one, we got the Mag 7 Wildwood added, and while I don't personally love it, and I used the Pop Dog instead for context, but I know some people do quite like this skin, and I think overall it is the better pairing with the likes of the Force DD Pack. Now I gotta say, the CT rifles, you get fantastic options for very cheap. Mud Spec Factory New is under $1, and I used to always say go Battle Scarred for it to get the bronzy accents, but with these gloves, I think that Factory New to field tested range is the best, and just going Factory New with as much sort of clarity for those little, for the specs really, to shine is the best word for it, I think is the best play. You could also take a look at an M4A4 Edgelord here, just over the $1 mark in minimal wear, and for me, this is where we just want to go for those nice brown pairings, and I think the Edgelord definitely delivers on that for us. Now, much like the Desert Eagle, I have two options here for the AWP. That could be either to pick and choose from, or if you are an AWPer and you want to run one on both sides, they're fairly cheap and you can do so. The first one is the Phobos. Now, I slept on this one a little bit for myself. I personally kept running my Mortis, which is an option, but it's not the next one. This runs you $2.60 in Factory New, and it's just there. It's got the greens, it's got the yellows, and overall, it's not too bad with the gloves. Potentially the best pick, though, would be the Black Island Battle Scarred, which is only 10 cents more at $2.70, because that pairs in with the brown on the gloves. Just to showcase what I meant with the Mortis, so this is what I've been running myself, however, it is that little bit more pricey. With yet another new addition, we have the famous Palm, only 5 cents in minimal wear, and you know what? Not one for one perfect with the gloves, because you are seeing a bit more brown than this light green, but for the 5 cent mark, it's really hard to complain. And on the AUG, I've gone cheap and cheerful, because I know not many people use it at the minute. 5 cent for the new Commando Company. Again, not 100% perfect, but for 5 cents to have those greens and a bit of brown coming through with it, obviously the third Commando Company gloves would technically be the best pairing here. And we had such a lack of Zeus skins for a long time that I didn't include them, but here we have the Swamp DD-Pat. We have DD-Pat gloves, we've got a DD-Pat Zeus, and it's only 8 cents minimal wear. I think it's kind of a no-brainer to pick this up and add it into the loadout when we can. Now, again, I wanted to go very different on the T-Edge. I didn't want to fall into the trap of using the $30 plus Darrells, and obviously I'm trying to keep this budget friendly. Interestingly, Osiris Elite Crew, because of the skin tone, actually pairs really well with the gloves here, so I think this is something you should look at picking up. And then on the Glock side of things, I want to go with the Wasteland Rebel. It's $4.40 minimal wear, so we have spent a decent little bit on both our USP and the Glock in the grand scheme of things, and then try to keep the budget down elsewhere, which is what you should be doing. And while I'm not a big fan of clashing the camo patterns, which is why I refuse to use the Real Forest with the Forest DD-Pat gloves, I think the Fubar for 9 cents in field test it is just the best pick on the Tech 9 side of things. One item that's got messy pricing is the Leaf Hopper. Now, I think 71 cents for minimal wear. It was the 4th or 5th highest price I could find across different marketplaces, so I think overall that's a fair expectation of what you should look to pay, but I think this looks kind of nice with the gloves for what you're paying. And then the Mac and 10, you kind of want it cheap and cheerful, but you want it to pass the vibe check. Classic Crate for 15 cents, in this case, does that for me. It's got the greens, it's got a little bit of vibe going on it, and it does the job nicely. Now, I suggested in my last video for the Lieutenant Commanders, and I wasn't sure what to hear, but I think the Harvester for 17 cents min wear is probably the best, like, cheap PP Bison you're going to get here, because it's got that sort of brownish green going on to it, which pairs in with the gloves. For the P90, you can pick up a Verdant Growth for literally 2 cents minimal wear, and you know what? I'm just going to run with it. You don't want to put too much into the P90 if you're really on a budget, so it just does the job nicely. Now, there are a handful of new Gales, like this Acid one, that you could be going with, but I've actually decided to go with the older Vandal here, because it's got the green, it's got the brown, it's got some accent colors, and it's 81 cents in minimal wear. I think overall, it just fits in with the gloves that bit better, as much as I like the Acid version. Now, on the AK, you could very well take a look at a Wasteland Rebel if you want to, but it is a little bit pricier. So what I'm going to suggest instead is another AK that I actually still have, and just to showcase that I do have it. The Winter Green is in here chilling with me in minimal wear, and that's what I'm suggesting for you guys here. $14 gets you in minimal wear, and I think here you got that brown handle under the brown that pairs well, and while the greens aren't perfect, I think if you put a gold craft on this, it looks not too bad. As I say though, if you want to spend more money, go get a Wasteland Rebel. And then another addition that works really well is the Green Ceramic 7 cent minimal wear. Does the job super nicely for us. We don't have to worry about spending a lot on the Scout. And then I end it off on the Atlas. Now, I mentioned it in the video covering my own loadout because I have one of these in Factory New 00 float. It wears badly, and I've got a minimum wear of 50 cents here and just accepting the fact that it's going to wear, because realistically not many people are using the SG these days, so until it becomes more meta, you can kind of just vibe out. Now, the big thing, the total loadout cost. If you went for the paracord knife, which is my suggestion for the budget level, this total loadout is $440. You're getting minimal wear and knife and gloves that look incredibly clean, and you're getting a skin for every single weapon that you should have equipped in the game, plus agents for under $450. For me, given the craziness of the market at the minute, I think that's really good going. If you wanted to go down the route of me and running a butterfly knife, you could be looking then at $1,160, which again, to get a butterfly with everything included, not too bad. However, I think that value proposition of the power card for 440 total is very, very nice. And like I said at the start, you could ball out with a Karambit as well, but you're talking over $1,700 at that point. And for me, that's when I would start to consider looking at a different loadout theme. So overall, I love this loadout, and the fact that I've been using it myself for over a month, minus the fact that I might be changing soon, is kind of like a testament. I have put my own money in place for this, and I really enjoyed running it. And I think the power code is a winner. So I'm going to end it there. $440 for the loadout. Absolutely banging. A big thank you to the YouTube members that continue to support the channel. We are going to be doing more viewer loadouts through this month, and if you want to skip the queue for that, becoming a member is the easiest way to do so. So hit that join button down below, and I'll give you all of the information. Hit the like button if you enjoyed it, hit the subscribe button if you're around here, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.